Okay, so I welcome my esteemed panelists, and I think no need to introduce any one of them. We will start the quiz first. अरे एक मिनट आइए. Okay, fine. Just stay here.
ચેતન ભાઈ મેન્ટીમીટર માં હજી રીલોડ જ આવે છે.
આવશે હવે.
હા.
Okay.
I know, but
Okay, are you getting the question? So 51 players ready, 53, 55, 57, 59. Use your 4G.
61.
Okay.
Wow.
So my first question is, PDAT stands for, and your options are on your screen, and you have 15 seconds to answer.
એક ઓપ્શન દર્દ પણ હોવું જોઈએ.
Okay, so 43 out of 61 they answered correctly. It is Pediatric Infectious Disease Academy. Okay, so it is definitely confusing. But one thing is for sure, the last option is not correct. Pediatric Institute of Dangerous Army.
They probably looked at the panelists and answered that question.
Okay, so next again similar kind of question, but it is a sort of difficult and tricky question. Be attentive. 71 people. Okay, and here goes the question. Who is the secretary of PIDA 2024-25? And your time starts now.
No election campaign is allowed here.
Absolutely no.
તમને પીડા કોણ આપે છે એ લખવાનું છે.
70, 68, 90. Okay. Still, there are votes for Dr. Bhaskar Shenoy and Dr. Surendranath. And Dr. Tarun Rangnath, he is the chairperson, and Dr. Bhaskar Shenoy, chairperson elect of this PIDA. And Dr. Surendranath is the scientific convener of PIDA 2024. Okay, now the real game starts. Okay. So I will flash this for the people on the screen. At the same time, we'll splash over here, so you can have a look over at the question there. Okay, ready? 78, 79, good. And the question is,
અમને નહીં દેખાય.
વાંધો નહીં.
क्या है क्वेश्चन?
The first dose of DPT was given on 3rd April. Earliest, when can you give the valid second dose? Options are A, B, C, D. Okay, now let us see what has happened to.
તેમને જવાબ આપવામાં time આપો.
Yes, they have already given, sir, parallelly.
Okay.
So majority has given the 1st May, then 3rd May. So now let us discuss this question to the panelists. Who would like to take?
So
Hello. It is 28 days minimum period, 4 days grace period. So 28 days minus again 4 days. So it is 27 April.
So 24 days.
anyone understand? You add 28 days to 3rd April. That becomes 31. Minus 1 is 30, minus 2 is 29. Like that you come to 27. Anything which is 5 or more days prior than the 28 days is invalid dose. Up to 4 days is okay. So 31 minus 4 is 27. So this is by default, not by choice. You don't give it by choice. But by mistake you are given like this. Then if it is on 27 April, it's valid. If it's before that, then it's invalid. And you have to repeat the dose 4 weeks after this wrong dose. And don't count this wrong dose as the correct dose.
So Nitin bhai, my question is, this is like we are talking about DPT. Suppose it is other vaccine, live injectable vaccine, what will be your answer?
So again, same 28 days. And if suppose there is a live vaccine given before that, then the second live vaccine becomes invalid. And you repeat the second live vaccine 4 weeks after the wrong dose of the second live vaccine. Suppose you give an MMR now, varicella after 15 days, varicella becomes invalid. You give another varicella 1 month or 4 weeks after the wrong varicella dose.
So this is applicable to inactivated as well as live injectable vaccine of the same class, okay, same vaccine. But if it is a different live injectable vaccine, then the lag period, this grace period is not allowed.
So if you have two live injectable vaccines, they should be 4 weeks apart. If they are given within 4 weeks, then the second dose is invalid. But if it's inactivated vaccine, that rule does not apply. And this rule does not apply to live oral vaccine like OPV, Rota. If you give an OPV today, Rota tomorrow, both are valid.
So the grace period of spacing of the within vaccine, which is the vaccine where we don't consider this spacing?
Rabies is the classical.
So that is one option. Like
Other
with
thing,
this,
remember, even hepatitis A, 6 months is mandatory. If it's given before 6 months, invalid. You repeat another dose of hepatitis A 6 months after the wrong dose. Like that, you continue. HPV, if you have
yeah.
produced using the 0 and 6 schedule, then 0 up to 5 is okay. If it becomes 0, 4, then you have to give one more dose 4 months after the last dose.
So-
and in hepatitis B, the gap between the second and third dose should be minimum 8 weeks, and the age of the child should be minimum 6 months or 24 weeks.
so why sir, let's discuss science. Why that for primary priming doses, no, there we are keeping a gap of 4 weeks, and then booster we are keeping a gap differently 4 weeks and more. Why that concept?
So you primary doses work on a prime and boost phenomenon. Now people have traditionally tried 3 primary doses for most of the vaccine, and that jinx cannot be broken unless someone does a 2-dose primary 8 weeks apart, like how we have done for IPV. Generally people will not venture into doing that, something which is traditional. But we know for pneumococcal 2 is enough primary, but given at 8 weeks apart. Same way 2 IPV primary are enough, but given 8 weeks apart and starting from 8 weeks of age, not starting at 6 weeks of age. So each individual vaccine has their own studies to show which is the most optimum schedule and starting of the vaccine timing as far as the age of the child is concerned. If you deviate, then you presume it won't work as good and you will probably repeat the dose.
So which are the 2 vaccines which cannot be given on the same day? You would not like to give on the
So
same day.
like, I mean, yellow fever and BCG, like that, you don't give Menectra and Prevnar on the same day. But these are all very, very anecdotal. Generally, you can give any killed vaccine together or live vaccine together, no issues.
So
But use
PCV
different
and
arms.
PPSV23.
Right,
That
and
will-
use different arms.
The PCV and Menectra, usually they say in a asplenic case. No, that's correct. Menectra and PCV, it is more
PCV 13 and Menectra.
than a regular patient.
Okay. So now
No,
get ready.
Prevnar and Menectra, I said that's because they use the same CRM197. So
Yes.
there will be interference in the carrier protein working for each of these. And especially when you have 13 serotype to the same CRM, then it will probably be lost in the sea of immune response, as they call.
So PCV 13 and Menectra will not be given together.
You can give Menvio and
Menvio and
Yeah,
PCV 13 can be given.
correct.
PCV 13 and PPSV 23 will not be given
Yeah,
together.
correct. So Prevnar 13 can be given with Menvio, but not with Menectra.
And BCG and yellow fever you said.
BCG yellow fever, but you don't use yellow fever vaccine in our,
Correct.
and you don't give yellow fever vaccine at birth. So why would you, I mean,
Agreed. Okay.
yeah, so, but still they have studies which show there is interference from one to the other.
Few serotypes they have been underperforming. Okay. Next question. 59, 60, 63, 64. Okay, fine.
This is nice. Cartoon is nice. Very nice.
Question 5 can be available.
Oh, we gone back. Okay. Okay. Question number 4. Okay. All are true regarding cold chain except. The question is there, so that's why I am not reading it. So panelist, let's see here. Have you answered? Okay. So 14 could answer. Correct answer. 9, 3 and 12. So majority, yes, they have got correct answer, but there are sizable number they have given the other options. Okay.
Read only.
Who will take this?
Can you know the question? Yeah. See, the correct answer, freeze-dried vaccine must be stored is wrong. Other than all are true except yeah. So diluent should never be frozen. Yeah. And then hepatitis B is the most freeze sensitive, and similarly the tetanus containing vaccines also, and OPV, Rota are the most heat sensitive vaccines, and no vaccine should be kept in the refrigerator door. That is correct. So having said that, the right answer is C, because the question is except.
Yeah, so this is a PG question.
If they are to be stored for more than, longer time, they have to be stored at minus
Yeah.
20.
So
Yeah.
the question
Hardly
is
correct and not right.
all is true in your office practice because
Okay.
you don't need minus 20 degree for freeze dried.
And especially
but in
when they
the
go out-
So
walking
nowadays
coolers-
WHO has clearly mentioned that it is not required a freeze-dried vaccine to be kept in minus 20. You can keep it very well 2 to 8 degrees centigrade.
But
And that's
that
the reason which this question.
That is
And
only
other
at a end
users
user,
place.
not
Okay.
So office practice.
practice. Right?
Okay, now chocolate question to the audience without any options. Which is more harmful, heat exposure or freezing? Both. I've asked more harmful. Freezing. Okay. Sir, they are saying freezing. Is it freezing or heat exposure? And why?
Freezing is all or none law.
Correct.
So lost is lost.
So heat exposure, some vaccine can still be used based on how much is the heat exposure. Most of the vaccines are heat stable for at least a week at for 38 degree and for a month between 20 and 38. Whereas freezing once is done, that means the crystals have been formed, they'll form macromolecules, especially if it's a vaccine with an adjuvant, that will be very reactogenic and a very poorly immunogenic. So that should be discarded. So if you have a frozen vaccine, you just cannot thaw and use it again. That should not be done. So, how will a vaccine get frozen? By mistake, someone puts it in a deep freeze, or you put it on a ice pack without a plastic in between.
Correct.
Then the surface can get frozen. That also is enough to damage the vaccine.
So it is all or none phenomenon. And for heat damage, we have VVMs. But for freezing injury, we don't have anything. So that's the reason this is like as such, both are harmful. Once gone, one gone. But for freezing, once gone, for all gone. Okay. So that was the thing. And which is the best device to keep the vaccines in our office practice? Which refrigerator or which?
A vertical ice line refrigerator, which is dedicated for vaccine, and you get it at a cost of almost 80,000 to 1 lakh now. So they are standing like your ice cream parlors.
Okay.
Because there the heat doesn't come out like that. Where you open the door, the entire air gushes out and then it makes the entire temperature go higher up, especially door compartment.
It's
So the
ILR or it is a purpose-built respirator?
yeah, same. So it should be vertical, not horizontal.
So that is purpose-built refrigerator.
correct.
Ice line refrigerator is having a different because they have a more
So
storing.
usually there also will be ice line. So you should buy an ice line vertical dedicated refrigerator. One, it will allow the air not to escape too fast. Two, it's easier to dig like that than like this. And three, because it's ice lined, will keep the temperature for 24 hours in case of power failure.
So purpose-built respirator is good because it is just like ice cream refrigerator in our consulting. We can see from outside, even the temperature control is good and all the compartments are having the same temperature. So it doesn't require that rule of say this particular vaccine to be stored in the upper chamber or then other chamber, like what we are doing in the domestic refrigerator.
So the only disadvantage of such refrigerator, there is no deep freeze there. So if we, like
Yes.
normally you keep these
Yes, so
vaccines.
those vaccines we want to keep it in a less than 0, it's not possible.
Correct.
Okay, fine. What is the importance of location of VVM? This is a question in that vaccination module. You see VVM which is there on the cap and there is also on a bottle. What is the difference? Who answered? Tushar, one of the faculties. Okay, fine. He says single dose is having a on the cap and multi-dose having it on the bottle, this thing, label. What is the difference now? Multi-dose level vial is having an open vial policy. So it can be used for say whatever 28 or 30 days. But single dose vial, once it is opened, we have to use it within 4 to 6 hours, once prepared. So that is the difference.
So you also have multi-dose measles and MMR vaccine, which once reconstituted should be used within 4 hours, and that too kept in an ice pack with a dug wall. So if you use it beyond that, as there is no preservative, it can lead to toxic shock syndrome.
So those vaccines where open vial policy is allowed, they are having this VVM on the bottle. Okay, fine. Now it's time for next question. Are we ready? 51, 55, 57. Okay, fine. And here we go. The question is on your screen.
Next.
The question is 6-month-old infant who has received the first dose of rotavirus vaccine inadvertently at 5 months, that is beyond the maximum age of 14 weeks and 6 days. The infant is brought to you for second dose, that is a month later. What next? Will you send it to government for the completion of course? Give rest 2 doses at 4 weeks interval and complete the series before 8 months? Give the single dose of rota, or you can't give further doses? Panelists, before that, we'll let us see the answers of the B.
Because the chances of intussusception are maximum with the first dose. So if first dose is given and nothing has happened, okay, you are allowed to go give the second and the third dose. So complete the vaccination schedule, and the last dose should be completed before the 8 months.
So it is actually 32 weeks, not even 8 months technically. And the only vaccine which is allowed till 52 weeks for the last dose, as per the label, is Rotacil from Serum, because that has studied up to 50 days. Okay, you don't do it because why would you wait for 1 year? Remember, in the government schedule, they are giving vaccine up to 1 year of age. So even if someone comes as late as 8 months, they will start the rotavirus vaccine. But that's for the government. In private practice, don't venture into all this.
So because the government looks at the cost and risk benefit. The thing is that the government schedule prevention of one rotavirus deaths, for prevention of one rotavirus intussusception death, you will be preventing around 158 deaths due to gastroenteritis. So government looks at a
risk benefit ratio they have been calculating.
So this is the Dr. M.M. Patel study done, which assess as on behalf of WHO. In fact, if Dr. Patel works in WHO, that if we open up the policy of rotavirus till 2 years of age, what will happen? So for one extra intussusception death, 150 more deaths of severe rotavirus gastroenteritis will be prevented in developing countries. So they are in favor of opening up for 2 years. WHO position paper says till 2 years, but the government of India has taken it till 1 year.
So now we know that in government sector, what have been given is this Rotavac brand and Rotacil both. So is there any data that what is the risk of intussusception? Is it really a risk or it is a hype thing? So
initially when the Merck Rota shield was introduced, there were a huge hue and cry about the increased number of intussusceptions. Wyatt. And later, it was off the practice for many years. Then two new vaccines came, one from MSD, one from GSK. And they found that these two vaccines, when they studied the extensive post-marketing surveillance and etc., they didn't find much increased incidence of intussusception compared to the related tests.
Any specific data of Rotavac? Because I think
so Rotarix and Rotatec both used in Australia 50-50%. Best country to study the effect of rotavirus gastroenteritis. Rotavirus vaccine leading to intussusception. Also in Mexico, they found that there was slight increase in intussusception cases, but the confidence intervals were touching 0, so did not become statistically significant. That's why they strictly follow the rule of first dose not beyond 14 weeks and 6 days, and last dose beyond 32 weeks. In India, we have study which is case control trial done in multicentric analysis with Rotavac, which is Bharat Biotech's Rota vaccine, and they found that there was no increase in case of intussusception. In fact, intussusception was lesser in subject, of course statistically not significant, but otherwise speaking, there was no risk of extra intussusception with Indian rotavirus vaccine from Bharat Biotech in study done in India.
correct. So intussusception risk, I think we have been vaccinating this vaccine since years together. I think I don't know how many of you have come across the case of intussusception following this
We have
rotavirus?
had 2 cases following first and second dose, both. But I won't name the brand because it's not significant. But when you label intussusception as related to rotavirus, if it happens in the first window of the first 1 week or at the most first 2 weeks. But if it happens after 3 or 4 weeks, then it may be just a coincidence.
That is what 1 to 7 days the risk is maximum, then 8 to 21 days. But usually this risk is very low, very low. Okay, so now let us go to the next question. So let us see how many are ready. 58, okay fine, 63, 65. So next question is on your screen. A particular brand of rotavirus vaccine mentioned 5D. What does 5D mean? So your options for panelists are 5-digit code on label, storage at 5 degree, that is 2 to 8 degree, vial contains 5 doses or 5 dimensions. Let us see the first answers of the people who have voted. Okay.
I think you want to take this?
So 23, yes, maximum number of people have voted for storage at 5 degree. Okay. Just an information. Yes, sir.
So just remember that Rotavac started with minus 20 degree with buffer, then minus 20 degree without buffer, then a minus 20 could be used up to 6 months at 2 to 8 degree, and now it's an officially 2 to 8 degree, so don't have to worry about VVM changing as was happening, and that is a Rotavac 5D. It has replaced the Rotavac now, so you won't get Rotavac, you'll get only Rotavac 5D. It is 5 degree, 5 drops or 5G like vaccine because there is no intussusception.
Very well said. So yes, initially we had that no buffer, no stabilizer. So yes, to keep it at minus 20 degree. Then came in between 5C, that is buffer was there, stabilizer was there, but it was to be 1.5 to 2 ml and 2 to 8 degree. And then finally we have Rotavac 5D, which is having a lesser dose, 0.5 ml, and it can be kept at 2 to 8 degree. It is having a stabilizer but no buffer. Now what is the advantage of this less volume is, we know that while giving the vaccine or putting it in mouth, if it is a more volume, there are chances of regurgitation. And the question is again, if the child regurgitates after giving that vaccine, what will you do, sir? Will you give it again or you will just keep it?
So the official leaflet of Rotarix says that you repeat the dose because theirs is only 2 doses. Rotatech says no need to repeat, WHO says no need to repeat, IIP says no need to repeat. I don't repeat because it's not required when you're giving 3 doses as such. And as Dr. Pramod Jog is here, he would say, ask the parents only to give the vaccine so that even if he regurgitates, it's their fault, not your fault. But remember, with this 5-drop Rotavac and coming in a syringe, it's very easy to give it on the cheeks of the child, and I mean, they won't gag and vomit out. That's the advantage. Only remember, it's a syringe, so don't attach a needle. You will not be able to attach a needle, but it happened with Rotarix when it used to come in a needle, and in Africa, some nurses forcefully put a needle and injected rotavirus vaccine intramuscularly. So that is not going to work.
So this is for oral use only, and it's been clearly mentioned over it. But still, so sir, why this buffer? They have removed the buffer. Any specific reason? Because Rotavac particular, they have removed the buffer and they could come down to that.
Ideally, it was that you give buffer to neutralize the acidity of the stomach so that the live virus, when it goes, will work in the intestine. But there was study to say that even without buffer, it works because the volume is so low, it's actually absorbed from the buccal mucosa and works with the mucosal immunity through the lymphoid tissue in the neck rather than the intestine. So that's the reason why initially it will be buffer for first give buffer, make the patient wait for half an hour and then give the vaccine. Half the patient thought that the vaccine is given, they would disappear with only buffer taken. So all that is taken care by. I think today, now we have settled with 1 less dose, 2 in a pre-filled syringe, 3 at 2 to 8 degree, 4 only 5 drops, and 5th no intussusception, no buffer, no side effects.
So though what they found, because it is naturally attenuated strain which is found 116E in the...
Besides, I mean, it has a study also with a 0 dose. So 4 dose schedule instead of 3 dose. So birth and then 6, 10, 14. Too early to say whether that's going to work or no. I have the insight to the data. I won't tell you here because I'm not supposed to tell. But there is a move to say that whether we can introduce, because this is a neonatal strain. And if you know how it was invented, the brilliant, observation by Dr. Bhan's group in AIIMS, that those children who were born during a neonatal outbreak of asymptomatic neonatal rotavirus, they never came back with severe rotavirus gastroenteritis as compared to children who were born without the exposure to this virus. And they said that the virus is acting like a vaccine. And that's how the vaccine was then made, the strain was made into a vaccine, that is the NE116. So it could be given to even a newborn. Whether it will improve the immunogenicity of the subsequent 3 doses, I think the data is still premature. I won't tell you because I'm not supposed to say.
Okay, question number 7. Are we ready? Okay. The question is there on your screen. A newborn delivered to HBsAg positive mother who was given a HBIg and 0 dose of hepatitis B at birth and 3 pentavalent vaccine, last dose was given on 14 days, should be tested for anti-HBsAg antibody titer at 9 months, titer at 6 months, HBsAg as well as anti-HBsAg titer at 9 months, and both titer with the last dose of HBV. Let us see what the people have answered, then we'll discuss, because I think this question was covered, Dr. Yagnesh bhai, in your session. Okay, still you see 16-16 tie. So there are people who are answered that anti-HBsAg antibody titer only at 9 months. No need to go for HBsAg and both at 9 months. So now let us analyze this answer, Dr. Bhaskar.
Can you? Yeah. See, the correct answer is once you are given the HBIg and then the vaccine, the third C stands the correct answer. You have to test for antibodies only at 9 months, not earlier than that. The reason being, once the immunoglobulin or Ig is given, that will persist in the blood for little longer time, maybe 6 to 8 months. So if you do earlier, you will be detecting that one. So to avoid that, it is better and advised to do at least after 9 months. 9 to 12 months would be ideal. And even if you have given a vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, after 1 month of the minimum of 1 month of the vaccine, you may have to do, because a bit of antigens may be detected in the test, and that may give a wrong reading. So having said that, the answer C is the right one.
So there was a question in Gujarat webinar group. Somebody got HBsAg and anti-HBsAg positive report done at around 6 and 7 months, and HBsAg was positive. Suppose this patient was given at 14 weeks last dose of hepatitis B vaccine. At 6 or 7 months, they tested for HBsAg and anti-HBsAg. HBsAg was positive. What will be your stand?
Do not consider it, because after vaccination there are chances of HBsAg being positive in some of the patients, not all.
But that is maybe for say 3 or 4 weeks?
Usually for a month or so.
So I would interpret that probably your vaccination failed, hepatitis B, your passive prophylaxis failed, the child did become HBsAg positive, and now he is becoming HBsAg negative and developing anti-HBsAg antibody, and he will not become chronic carrier. That's the only, otherwise you never get these two together.
Yes.
But it can happen transitionally in a patient of a chronic carrier who is going to remove the carrier state and becoming anti-HBsAg antibody positive.
So just repeat it after say 2 or 3 months.
Absolutely.
If HBsAg is positive, that is chronic carrier. If it is negative and antibody positive, that has been seroconverted. Okay, fine. Okay, next question. Let's see how many ready. Okay, more than 50, 60. Fine. The question is on your screen. A TCV was administered to 9 months old baby. Okay. And later it was noticed that the vaccine has expired. What will you do? Apologize and revaccinate, accept the error and do not give TCV anymore, vaccinate after 4 weeks, or ask the FR antibody titer after 2 weeks. Now, let us see what the people have answered. Okay, there are people who are in favor of vaccinating after 4 weeks. They don't want to apologize. And the majority of them, they thought, okay, I will not apologize and revaccinate after 4 weeks. Okay, let us see how we can deal with this situation with the help of panelists. Okay, Jaideep.
Expiry date of any vaccine or medicine doesn't mean that it's totally gone after that particular day. Usually it's quite advanced, the expiry date, and it's a long phase when the vaccine can be used also. Now, if you can convince the parents that say it has expired just a few days back, and you can convince that it will work, then you can leave it as it is. But if it's a long-term expiry, then definitely you just cannot convince them like that. In this case, when it's a inactivated vaccine, then definitely you have to revaccinate, and that you can do immediately.
Immediately.
Typhoid vaccine you can do immediately.
So beyond this discussion, these things that happened to our friends in Gujarat, 2 or 3 people have called in last 3-4 months. Please, my request from my side, because somebody is giving a vaccine which has been expired vaccine. That fellow will go to another pediatrician to ask for the expert opinion what will happen to my child. At least reassure them nothing will happen, and immediately contact that person who has given vaccination. That will be the big help.
In a lighter vein, my response will also depend on who found out it was expired vaccine, you or the patient.
Patient itself. After say sometimes. Nothing happens. Sir.
And don't charge for the second one.
Of course, of course. Otherwise you will be sued. Anyways, next question. How many are ready? Consistently more than 50-60 people are participating. This time the number has gone up. This is interesting question again. And I would like Nitin bhai to take this question. A 2-year-old child, culture proven typhoid, TCV was TCV was administered at 6 months of age. What will you do? No more TCV, check for immunodeficiency, 1 dose of TCV after 4 to 6 weeks, and 2 doses of TCV. Okay, now let us see how people has responded. 1 dose of TCV after 4 to 6 weeks. There are few who would like to go for 2 more doses of TCV. So 3 doses people are in favor of. There are people, they think that now natural infection was also occurred and 1 dose of TCV given, nothing to be done. Nitin bhai,
No,
we need your help.
Before Dr. Nitin takes up, I just wanted to mention that a typhoid occurring even after vaccination doesn't mean that the vaccine has failed. Because typhoid is an inoculum based disease, so it can happen. So that's the one thing we better tell the parents even after giving typhoid conjugate vaccine.
Any ways to decide that whether it is a vaccine failure or it is a inoculum was high?
I don't
Unless
think
you have done a titer before he developed typhoid. So that's impossible. Anyway, no one would do it. So the practical way would be that, see, typhoid is a very quantum based disease. So if you eat a pani puri full of salmonella, then no matter how many vaccine doses you have taken, you will get it. So it's as simple as that. So it doesn't mean, as he said, that the first dose has failed. But the fact that he developed it, there is something wrong with the host and the vaccination. I would cover him up by giving 1 more typhoid conjugate vaccine, either at time of discharge or call him a week or 2 after that.
Okay, fine.
And
so
because he has taken 1 dose and then the natural typhoid, so he's already boosted, then now we give 1 more dose is enough. There's no need to give 2 more doses.
So indirectly we are favoring 2 doses?
Normally I give 2 doses. Tell me one vaccine, which is again bacterial disease, which is given at 6 months as a single dose and works for lifelong. I mean, what are you doing? You're defying immunology or what? Out of question.
So
you need a booster at 4 to 5 years of age.
So as of now, there is
very soon the data will come. Again, I am tight-lipped, but the data is in the public domain. Malawi study, they looked at 4 years and 5 years efficacy. The efficacy was maintained at 70-75%, but the confidence interval was 6% to whatever. So 6% could become 0 very soon. So if not this year, next year it will become not significant, which means those children are not going to be now protected any further unless they are given a booster. And there's a data with 2 doses in the original study done by Bharat Biotech, where the second dose did boost up. So when they followed up for 8 years, single dose versus 2 dose, seroconversion was much higher in 2 dose, titers are much higher, and in the Malawi study shows that the efficacy is going to drop to non-significant after 4 years. You need a booster in such a small child given first dose at very early life, a booster at 4 to 5 years. And I'm sure that change will come both at the WHO level and at the IAP level. What I've been saying and crying hoarse since last so many years will probably come in reality.
Agreed.
So all those who believe in me follow my schedule.
Okay, next question number 10. It's on your screen. All are true for typhoid conjugate vaccine.
Next. 10 number.
Okay. Okay. All are true for type bar TCV except type bar TCV can be given from 6 months to, sorry, this is 45 years. No, it is 65. I'm just changing it. Type bar TCV can safely be co-administered with measles, MCV and MMR. Type bar conjugate vaccine conjugated to non-toxic mutant of diphtheria toxin, and human challenge trial for typhoid with type bar TCV showed vaccine efficacy of 87%. Let us see what people have answered, because in that it is 65 I have mentioned. Okay, so people are going maximally with the human challenge trial. The people that don't believe this thing has happened.
No, Dr. Chetan, that's very good. At least most of the people are aware that this vaccine had a human challenge test. Because
That is the correct answer, what people they say.
no. But at least they are aware that it was done, though it's not the correct.
Acha, okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least people are aware. But I
Half
think the
bottle,
correct
half
answer
glass
is the tetanus toxoid.
Okay, now let us discuss it. Who will take up?
See,
So, there are different discussion points in this.
yeah, see, typhoid TCV can be given from 6 months to 65 years. Now there are studies to say that even in adults it can be given, and you can show some studies. So, as we know that it is from the 6 months onwards. Then second, can you show
So
the question?
this is a study which was what Dr. Bhaskar was showing.
Yeah.
That there are study phase 4 trials which have been done in 18 to 65 years of age. So now recently it has been changed on the PI also that it can be given up to 65 years of age. So that was one point. And I would like you to discuss because this answer is conjugated to non-toxic mutant. It is not correct because it has been conjugated to
Tetanus
toxoid. And
yeah.
can you just elaborate what is human challenge test? Because everybody has.
Yeah, see, this is one vaccine which has been really in real world, it is studied in the human, wherein they have given a solution with the salmonella and made to consume, and then they studied the efficacy of the vaccine in the Oxford University, and the efficacy was to the tune of about 87%. So this is one vaccine wherein the human challenge has been conducted.
So imagine the people have been identified that they are naive for typhoid vaccination as well as the disease. They have been given a solution of typhoid bacilli, and then they are drinking it and they are seeing what is happening to them. This is a new study.
So it's
But
a very,
most of them are 18 to 65.
They are adults only. Adults.
it's a very elaborate study where half of them were given polysaccharide vaccine, half of them were given conjugate vaccine. And then after 1 month, they were challenged by a capsule full of an X number of organism. Then every day they were followed with blood culture and for fever. And if they develop fever, they were aborted by giving quinolone or cefixime. And if they develop blood culture positive without symptom also, they were aborted. In any case, nothing happened. Then at 2 weeks, they were aborted by antibiotics. So it's not just giving and okay, bye-bye, come tomorrow if any problem. And then they study the efficacy of polysaccharide versus typhoid conjugate. And then looking at the polysaccharide vaccine efficacy in the field trial, they said that the efficacy of typhoid conjugate is 87 or 89% in naive people with just one dose.
Okay. Next question, question number 11.
Indeed, this one is quite interesting session, but as we are short of time, we will
Yes,
request
yes.
if we can, we should conclude it quick.
Yes. Okay. All are true for JE vaccine except 2 doses of vaccine schedule should be followed for all JE vaccine. Genvac has got DCGI approval for single dose. ACPP recommends interchangeability with all 3 available JE vaccines, and JE vaccines can be given as early as 6 months. And let us see your answers. Okay, panelists. So there are, like, it's not a graph which is full of say 90% people giving correct answer. So I think it is good point to discuss it out.
So when it comes to JE vaccine, 2 doses, the first thing is 2-dose vaccination schedule should be followed. Yes, that's right. Though there are some studies say that 1 dose also works, but as of now, the recommendation is 2 dose. Then Genvac has got DCGI approval for single dose, yes. ACVIP recommends interchangeability. Not only ACVIP, even the government of India also recommends in a mass scale the interchangeability of the vaccines. And JE vaccine can be given as early as 6 months. That is the only exception, because it is given in the government system after 9 months.
Yeah. So for the answers, for the point C, now there are only two vaccines available. The Chinese vaccine has been withdrawn, where the government has stopped using that vaccine since last 3 or 4 years. So it's only Genvac or Jeev.
Okay. So here DCG has given approval to Genvac single dose. And why we are not accepting it? And why they have given that approval?
I'm going to speak on JV vaccine tomorrow, so you can.
Okay, fine. Thanks. That will help. So now I think 3 questions are left. If you wish, we can go ahead and just have that. Okay. એવું છે?
તો તેમ કરો અને વોટિંગ રહેવા દો, ખાલી ડિસ્કસ કરી નાખો. હા.
Acha, okay, fine. You can answer it. This is the last question. Then we can have the.
That's what. So last question. બસ ખતમ કરો.
Or can we have all the questions one by one? But the discussions will be open, so you all can meet and greet everybody, and they will also get a chance to meet you guys.
Yes.
Okay. So here B has got the maximum answer, and let us see.
આ હું કાલે બોલવાનું છે, આ સ્લાઇડ દેખાડતા નહીં હમણાં. ચાલો,
Okay.
next. તમે જ સવાલ પૂછો, તમે જ જવાબ આપી દો.
Nah. Okay. 6-year-old boy with a category 3 dog bite came on day 5. He received single dose of ARV right buttock on day 1. What next? Start fresh PEP on 0371428. Start fresh PEP 0371428 with RIG. Then continue ARV, give rest doses as per day 0371428 and start fresh. Okay.
Correct.
So 13 people have given the correct answer, and I hope I'll end over here.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll respect the time, and I would like to go for the
Hello.
best 3 answers who have given. I'll get the name. So I'll quickly be moving ahead. Don't vote. Don't vote. Don't vote this last one. Okay, leaderboard. Puffy. Again Puffy. Who is Puffy?
Everyone will claim.
No, this Puffy has got the correct answer,
Maximum correct answer.
maximum correct in the shortest time.
ચલો તેને
Puffy कौन છે?
કોઈ claim નથી કરતું.
Who has given the name Puffy?
Next.
Maybe AI.
Next ને આપી દો.
Okay, just a
કુણાલ.
minute.
So,
Okay, Kunal Amin and Nishchal and Jigen Shah. So I think 1, 2 and 3 will be Kunal Amin. Who is Kunal Amin?
pediatrician from Anand. He is
Kunal Amin, Nishchal Bhatt, Jigen Shah and Samir Shah. Wow. Congratulations. Friends,
Yes.
here we end it, and hope you like this concept of online polling. Thank you so much.